So, Brian, we got one quarterback left to talk about. That is incoming freshman Tyler Buchner. We've heard that name many, many times. What does he need to do this spring? I mean, I would be shocked if he was the starter coming out of spring. That would either mean he played absolutely unbelievable, but it would also mean the other three did not play very, very well, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. What are your thoughts on Tyler Buchner going into this spring?
I agree with the first part of that, not the second part of it.
Okay.
I think Tyler Buchner could win the starting job if he plays to his potential. I don't think that's going to be
his freshman potential.
No, his potential, his talent, right?
Okay.
So his physical talent relative to his level of experience, right? I'm not saying he needs to play like a fourth-year senior, because if he plays like he's a fourth-year senior, I don't care what those other guys do.
Sure,
he's going to be starting quarterback. I'm talking about playing to his potential, his physical potential relative to his current level of experience, right? Because he's got the second best arm of the quarterbacks. He's definitely the best athlete, in my opinion. I think Brandon Clark is a powerful athlete. Tyler Buchner's a better foot quickness, speed,
more
that
athletic
kind of athlete.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, he's got all the other intangibles you want, leadership, poise, all those kind of things. He just hasn't done it a whole lot in real football situations against good competition. He also didn't get the chance to go compete at a lot of different events. There was no opening. There was no Under Armour All-American game. Those things where he would have been able to kind of go toe-to-toe with the best quarterbacks. He didn't get that chance. Now, I believe he would have if the opportunity was there. I think he would have been like Drew Pine, but because of COVID, all those things were canceled. So there's so much development that he lost out on that's going to hurt him. That's why I don't expect as much from him as I think a lot of other people are. Now, having said that, if he's able to kind of shake off all that rust of not having played last year, not having all those kind of things, and his talent takes over, he'll have a chance to win the starting quarterback job. I just don't think the expectation should be that he will do that, because I think that's unfair when you consider that in the last 3 years, 18, 19, and 20, right, during Notre Dame's great stretch where they've gone 33-5 and Ian Book has started all these games, right? Tyler Buchner's played one season of high school football during that stretch.
Yeah.
And so it
was dominating. It was
not talking about
he
was like a backup to a great player, but he wasn't practicing because he was hurt in 2018. And then in 2020, there was no football.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even playing at all. Now you can say he's been with quarterback coaches and all, but that's not football, right?
Right.
That's working on your mechanics. So, what we need to see from Tyler Buchner is how quickly can he shake off that rust? How quickly can he not only get used to, he hasn't had to lead. He hasn't had a team to lead the last year, So, it's just been worrying about him, and that's fine. And hopefully that'll help him be ready to play as a quarterback. But how quick is he going to adapt to the other parts of it? How quickly can he adapt personality-wise to his teammates and leadership-wise to his teammates? How quickly can he get used to, he's been running 1 million drills the last year, and that's great. That's keeping him athletically fresh, but that's not football. So
exactly.
How quickly can he get back up to speed with the football aspect of things? And so the talent is there, Vince. I've said this before. Look, the three quarterbacks of the Brian Kelly era that I graded coming out of high school as in that upper echelon of this guy can be an elite quarterback is Everett Golson, Phil Dracovic, and Tyler Buchner. That's it. And I'm someone who liked Deshaun Kaiser a lot coming out. Malik Zaire was a very good quarterback coming out. Brandon Wimbush was a very good quarterback coming out. All those guys were excellent players coming out of high school, but those three, to me, their combination of arm talent and athleticism and proven production. Everett Golson won a state championship coming in high school. He beat Jadeveon Clowney's team in a state championship, come from behind to win a state championship. Phil Dracovic won a state championship. Tyler Buchner did not, but again, he went kind of deep into the playoffs with not a very good team at a lower level of football in California. I would have loved to see what he would have done at Helix this year.
Yeah.
So, the talent is there, Vince. And so me throwing cold water on Tyler Buchner right now has nothing to do with me not believing in his physical talent. I think he's an incredibly talented quarterback. It's more of my fear is that unrealistic expectations are being placed upon him because we're focusing so much on his talent and not looking at the circumstances of what has happened the last, 2 to 3 years and how that has impacted him more than it has a lot of other quarterbacks, So, the last 3 years, Drew Pine played 2 years of high school football. And then this year, while Tyler Buchner was sitting out because of COVID, Drew Pine was on the Notre Dame football team at practice every day, running the second team offense at times, getting into games a couple times. You know what I mean? So
sure,
those are advantages that Tyler Buchner did not have. And so I'm just afraid that he's going to come in and not light the world on fire. And then all the people talking about how great he is now are going to start saying, well, he was overrated. He wasn't that good.
Sure.
And that's the fear, because he isn't overrated. He is, if anything, he's underrated because his rankings dropped because he didn't play this last year. I think he's a 5-star talent, but not every 5-star talent is going to step on the field and be Trevor Lawrence. You know how many throws Jameis Winston made his freshman year of college? 0. You know how many throws Michael Vick attempted his freshman year of college? 0. Do you know how many attempts Joe Burrow made as a freshman in college? 0, right? So the point is development is not everyone is Trevor Lawrence, right? And that's why Trevor Lawrence is a generational player. Tyler Buchner also came from a completely different circumstance. So that's where I'm getting at, Vince, is I just am trying to pump the brakes a little bit on the expectations of him. Having said that, Tyler Buchner does have the physical tools to go out and win the job at some point in time. And more so, what I think he needs to do is prove that he's capable of playing enough to where they say, we've got to find a way to get this kid on the field, even if it's not as a starter. And I actually hope he doesn't start as not the first game. I am a huge fan of never starting a freshman in the first game of the year, unless you don't have another option, or he's just that good.
Yeah.
Because if you start him and he falters, you know, what could possibly happen there? You know, mentally you could really hurt him, as opposed to like what USC did a couple years ago with Sam Darnold. They started Max Brown, he faltered, then you bring in the savior who's the young quarterback, as opposed to trotting the young quarterback out first. Clemson did that with Trevor Lawrence. And so let him get his feet wet first, and then if he proves to be really good, then you can play him. So, but to do that, he's going to have to show a really quick acclimation to the offense. That means we know he can do the things when the plays break down. Sure. He's going to make some miraculous plays like that. He's going to make some great plays. He's going to run around. You're like, oh, wow, this kid's super talented. But to really be in the mix, he's going to have to show that he can do damage from the pocket. He can make reads. He can go through progressions. He can get the ball out. He can manipulate the pocket, plant and throw, things that he has been drilled. Those are things he's been drilling a lot of. With his quarterback stuff. But showing you can do that when it's a person who can hit you, not a bag coming at you. You know what I mean? So how quickly does he adapt to those things? How quickly does he pick up reads? How quickly does he adapt to the speed of his teammates? How quickly does he adapt to the speed of the defensive players trying to make plays against him? So those are all the things that are going to determine whether or not Tyler Buchner is capable of really, truly competing to be the next quarterback at Notre Dame in 2021. And so how quickly he develops in those areas are going to be important. The physical tools are going to shine. He's going to make probably the most impressive plays of any quarterback on the team this spring. But it's, can he do the normal every down regular stuff of leading the offense, making the calls, making the checks, being a good decision maker, getting the ball out time, and then making plays. If he can do all those things, at some point in time, Tyler Buchner is going to have a chance to be the next quarterback at Notre Dame.